Golden State Warriors are about to make a big NBA trade. As you all know, the Warriors have been struggling, and as the trade deadline approaches, the Golden State Warriors have been in talks with certain teams to make a big blockbuster trade. In today's video, we're going to be going through the 5 potential blockbuster trades that the Golden State Warriors are currently looking on making that could change this team around and help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it would mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first is none other than Pascal Siakam. Now, as you all know, Pascal has been on the radar for the Golden State Warriors for the last 2 seasons, but now it seems that the Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors are in very close calls. Now, when it comes to the trade that may actually go down, we are expecting that the Golden State Warriors would have to give up maybe one young star or maybe a star as well that they already have. As Pascal is an all-star, he does have a lot to his name and is still a very young player, but he would definitely help the Golden State Warriors with what they have going on right now and help them get back into playoff picture. Now, when we look at Pascal Siakam so far this season, he's been averaging 22.3 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's a 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and is also an NBA champion, and I think he definitely has the right tools to continue to become a greater player as time goes on, but also be a great player in a Golden State Warriors uniform. Now, when it comes to one of the reasons why Toronto is looking to change him is that Toronto are rebuilding. They are looking to bring new people in, new stars in. They already did that by trading off OG Anunoby, and because of that, they did get in return Emmanuel Quickly and also RJ Barrett. Now, on top of that, they are looking to ship off Pascal, and the Golden State Warriors would have to give up maybe a young star or here or there in order to make this trade happen. But when it comes to Pascal, what I do believe he will be able to bring to this team is definitely a lot of versatility in that power forward position. Pascal stands at 6'8", 230 pounds, and is only 29 years age. He's a great defender. He's got a pretty solid 3-point shot, averaging 30% as well. But on top of all that, guys, not only is he a great scorer, but he's also a great defender as well. And I think that's something about his game that is definitely not really looked at very intensely, but he's a great defender and has a capability to definitely guard almost pretty much 1 through 5 pretty well. I think if he does get switched onto a guard or anything like that, he can definitely hold his own, and more defensive versatility is definitely something that the Warriors need. And when it comes to offense, he's definitely second to none because he's so far averaging this season 22 points while also shooting an effective field goal percentage of 56%. So I do believe offense and defense is what Pascal definitely has in him, and he can definitely provide a lot for what the Warriors are trying to build. The second is none other than Andre Drummond. Now, as you all know, Andre Drummond stands at 6'11", 279 pounds, and is actually only 30 years old. So a lot of people thought Drummond was a lot older, but he's still a pretty young guy, or in his peak years in the NBA. 2-time All-Star, 4-time rebounding champion, and he's done a fantastic job for the Chicago Bulls because he has been averaging 7.3 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 0.5 assists. Now, when it comes to Andre Drummond, what I do believe he could definitely help out this Warriors team is definitely in the size department. Now, what I mean by that is the Golden State Warriors, if you do look at their past games when they lose, they tend to lose against a lot of bigger teams. If we look at the most recent game, they did actually lose to the Toronto Raptors, but the game before that where they did versus the Denver Nuggets, they actually lost an 18-point lead pretty much in that third, fourth quarter, and they ended up losing by 3 with a Nikola Jokic Hail Mary at the end. But when it came to them actually being able to claw their way back in, one of the big reasons why Golden State Warriors struggled so much is they couldn't have anyone defend Nikola Jokic very well, since Nikola is so tall, pretty much standing at 7 foot, and is a very big guy, and also guarding Aaron Gordon. It was actually the big men in that game that definitely took over and was one of the reasons why the Golden State Warriors struggled badly. Yes, the Warriors do like to run small ball, but it does seem to hit a point where now the bigger players, especially in a team like Denver, are just as fast to keep up with that small ball lineup. And that's what Jokic and Aaron Gordon did very, very well. You do have to give them credit, but when it came to Warriors, if you do have to reflect on the game, they definitely need a lot more size and a lot more capability on defense when it comes to defending bigger guys. That's where they seem to struggle a lot in, and I think Andre Drummond can definitely help that in that department. When it came to Drummond's stats, obviously he's putting up great numbers in the rebounding department. Now, when it comes to offense, he may not be an offensive scorer. He still has a great effective field goal percentage of 53%, which I think is good, but he is only averaging only 7.3 points. But his defensive presence is definitely something that is needed because the Golden State Warriors continue to struggle to guard big men, and it gets worse and worse as time goes on. So this is something that they definitely need to have in their team in order to make them better defensively. respectively. The third player is none other than Buddy Hield. Now, as you all know, Buddy Hield is actually a guard, and a lot of people out there, especially Warriors fans, don't want a guard. They said we need a big, but I think Buddy Hield could definitely be an offensive juggernaut that the Warriors desperately need. Now, we look at Buddy Hield so far this season. He is averaging 12.7 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. So he has done a pretty good job for the Indiana Pacers, but you do have to remember that Buddy Hield, when it comes to his offensive usage rate, he doesn't have that high of an offensive usage rate since Tyrese Halliburton's there. Miles Turner actually takes a lot more shots, and because of that, Buddy Hield has only been averaging around 25 minutes per game and doesn't get the same amount of shots that he used to get from before. When he was shooting a good volume, he was able to average 20 points per game, but I do believe in this season he's become a great role player and is something that the Warriors could desperately need. When it comes to Buddy Hield and his averages, he's actually averaging 38% from the three, which I think is fantastic. His effective field goal percentage is 57%, which is really good, especially for a guard, and the fact that he is able to put up 3.2 rebounds and also 2.5 assists does show that he's an all-rounded player. But something that the Warriors have desperately struggled with, although Klay Thompson did have himself a great game most recently, I do believe Klay Thompson has been a little bit of a shooting slump as of recent. He hasn't been able to keep the consistency going, and because of that, Buddy Hield could definitely help out in that scoring department. When it came to Buddy Hield, like we mentioned, 6'4", 220, and he's still only 31 years old, so he's definitely in those peak years of having a good amount of youth behind him, but also being a great player in a sense that he's very efficient at scoring. And I do believe when it comes to what the Warriors have so far, what they are missing is another scorer to really contemplate or complement very well Stephen Curry, as Klay Thompson at times can be a little bit off, one off game, and it can definitely be jeopardy for the Golden State Warriors against any other NBA team. The fourth player is none other than Christian Wood. Now, as you all know, Christian Wood and the Los Angeles Lakers haven't been doing so well as of recent, and the Lakers are looking to rebuild another team around LeBron James before the trade deadline, and Christian Wood could be on his way out. Now, when it comes to Wood, he's stands at 6'8", 214 pounds, and is still only 28 years old, and I think Golden State Warriors could definitely snatch him up for very cheap. So far this season, Christian Wood is only averaging 7.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, and also 1 assist. But you do have to remember, with Christian Wood, he isn't getting that much game time as before, as he is only averaging around 17 minutes of play. And on top of that, he doesn't have the highest usage rate out there on the floor, since there is Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and now even D'Angelo Russell. And because of that, we could definitely see Christian Wood on his way out, and the Warriors could be a perfect fit for him. When it comes to Christian Wood, what I love about his game is not only his height and stature that could definitely help out in the defensive department like we talked about before, but on top of that, when it comes to Christian Wood, he's a great three-point shooter, 33% from the three, which I think is fantastic, and 55% effective field goal percentage. The reason why I think this is so important is that the Warriors definitely desperately need a lot more scoring, and I think Christian Wood can definitely provide that. Even though his numbers don't show him averaging 15, 20 points per game, you do have to realize when it comes to Los Angeles Lakers, there are other players on that team. LeBron's very ball dominant, same with AD, so someone like Christian Wood doesn't get the same amount of attempts that he always gets. He's only averaging around 6 field goal attempts per game, so that's not really a lot in that sense, and because of that, I think Wood is definitely wasting away. I definitely still see him as a very good starter in other teams, but sometimes we've seen it time and time again, guys, people that join the Lakers, it doesn't seem to work out. They just get worse, and once they leave, they start to become a star. We saw that D'Angelo Russell, we saw that with Julius Randle. This really does go on, and because of that, I definitely see Christian Wood, although we may have contradictions about him now, but I think if you take him out of LA Lakers, put him in a Warriors uniform, and have him really be able to shine, he can definitely still play with the best of them. Fifth player is none other than Lauri Markkanen. Now, as you all know, we have talked about Lauri Markkanen before in an NBA sense of him being traded to the Golden State Warriors, and I do believe that the offer is definitely still there. Utah Jazz have been very poor this season, and it does seem that they are looking to rebuild and restart fresh, and because of that, Lauri Markkanen could be on his way out. Now, Lauri is a one-time All-Star, 2017-2018 All-Rookie, and 2022-2023 Most Improved Player. So Lauri Markkanen is still a very young guy at 26 years old, can definitely still play with the best of them, and is also 7 foot tall. The reason why I think this is also important is due to the fact that the Golden State Warriors could use a star like Lauri Markkanen, as his stardom is definitely wasting away in a Utah Jazz uniform. Now, when it comes to his stats, he is averaging 23.6 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 1.6 assists, which is fantastic. But on top of that, guys, he's also shooting 39% from the three-point line. That is super impressive for a big, especially of someone that is 7 foot. On top of that, his effective field goal percentage is almost 60% at 59.3, and because of that, I definitely see Lauri Markkanen being in a Golden State Warriors uniform and being able to fit with the system that they have created. When it comes to Warriors, we all know they love shooting that ball, and Lauri Markkanen definitely does the same. He's leading in pretty much all those categories for that Utah Jazz team, and I do believe that the Warriors would desperately need someone like Lauri Markkanen in order to get the job done and make it back into the playoff picture. If we look at Utah Jazz, they are desperately in need of trading him, but they are expecting a lot from that, and because of that, Golden State Warriors would probably have to give up one of their stars and maybe a couple of other players and draft picks in order to get someone of Lauri Markkanen's caliber. Everyone knows he is going to continue to be a star if given the right amount around him when it comes to the team, and because of that, it could definitely be a struggle to get him, but I think it may be worth it.